Namaste YouTube, welcome to CAFE ENOMA and welcome to our reaction to Bernard CRIBBINS, and the song is The Hole in the Ground. It is our first time listening to this song, never heard this song before. Single take honest reaction to it. Let's get started with the music.
There I was, digging his hole in the ground, so big and sort of round it was, and there was I, digging it deep. It was flat at the bottom and the sides were steep. When along comes this bloke in a bowler, which he lifted and scratched his head. Whoa, he looked down the hole, poor demented soul, and he said, do you mind if I make a suggestion? Don't dig it there, dig it elsewhere. You're digging it round and it ought to be square. The shape of it's wrong, it's much too long, and you can't put a hole where a hole don't belong. I ask, what a liberty, eh? Nearly bashed him right in the bowler. Well, there was I, stood in me shoveling earth. For all that I was worth I was, and there was him, standing up there so grand and official, with his nose in the air. So I gave him a look sort of sideways, and I leaned on me shovel and sighed. Whoa, I lit me a fag, and having took a drag, I replied, I just couldn't bear to dig it elsewhere. I'm digging it round 'cause I don't want it square. And if you disagree, it doesn't bother me. That's the place where the hole's gonna be. Well, there we were discussing this hole in the ground, so big and sort of round it was. It's not there now. The ground's all flat, and beneath it is the bloke in the bowler hat. And that's that.
Okay. I don't know what just happened. He dug a hole in the ground.
Why don't you read it if you want? It would be interesting and entertaining to read it. What happened in this?
I know. I sort of
sounded weird to me on the first listen.
He was digging a hole. There was this guy who popped out, and yeah, let's see what exactly it says. See. There I was digging this hole. I can't really do that way. I like the way it was done. A hole in the ground so big and sort of round it was. There was I, digging it deep. It was flat at the bottom, and the sides were steep. Well, when along comes this bloke in a bowler, which he lifted and scratched his head. Well, we looked down the hole. Poor demented soul, and he said, do you mind if I make a suggestion? Don't dig there, dig it elsewhere. You're digging it round and it ought to be square. The shape of it's wrong, it's much too long, and you can't put a hole where a hole don't belong. I ask, what a liberty, eh? With his English accent there. Nearly bashed him right in the bowler. Well, there was I, stood in me hole, shoveling earth for all I was worth. There was him, standing up there, so grand and official, with his nose in the air. So I gave him a look sort of sideways, and I leant on my shovel and sighed. Well, I lit me a fag, and having took a drag, I replied, I just couldn't bear to dig it elsewhere. Okay, these two people are really, arguing and things like that, and it is going way too English right now. All the terms and things like that, it's getting more English fight. I'm digging it round because I don't want it square. And if you disagree, it doesn't bother me. That's the place where the hole is gonna be. Well, there we were, discussing this hole, a hole in the ground so big and sort of round it was. Well, it's not there now. The ground's all flat, and beneath it is the bloke in the bowler hat, and that's that. I think what he did was that guy fell into the hole and finished it off.
Okay, what a boring story.
It is. I think just a couple of hours between two guys who just didn't want to use their brain too much. One was digging, one was arguing and things like that, and they both wanted to prove some point with the square and the circle, the square and the round, and one ended up down and one happened to be very happy at the end. I like the way it was sung, and ting ting ting, some bell like sound that was coming. It was fun. It sounded like old song. People had a lot of time back in the day. They would fight over almost nothing, about how long the grass in the yard is, and what should be the shape of the mango, the right shape of the mango, and I don't know what not. Nowadays people fight a lot more about things that are very hateful. Back in the day they fought about things that were really nonsense. They didn't really matter to anybody. Probably it was lack of knowledge or what, I don't know, but people did fight about things that didn't really matter to anybody so much. And if they ended up like that, somebody being underground and then the other one laughing, it is a scary story to begin with. These days people generally want to argue about the politics. The moment you open your mouth, and there will be 4 more mouths joining it. That's how noisy it gets. So I'm happy with the song and topic like that, then discussing politics and race and religion and whatnot. The so-called social media isn't helping people really become social. It's desocializing people every single day. It's kind of opposite impact on people's brain and the way we look at society, and the harmony of the society is badly hampered, damaged because of social media presence in today's society. Things were better back then when people didn't have much to discuss and they would just fight about nothing almost. And if it happened to be a lockdown like this where people wouldn't have television and phones and whatnot, I think they could fight over almost birds and trees and I don't know what not.
Yeah.
That's how simple life used to be back then. Enjoyable song. I especially like the tone and the way it was sung, but the lyrics are shallow. Let's understand that. That's what I understood. I think the bloke is the person who was arguing and he went down. Though with that kind of English of the olden times, I really don't get too much of it. And I'm no expert in English. So I'm guessing that this is what he means to say at the end of the day, that person is underneath. And I'm happy.
Yeah, and we are going to listen to another song of Bernard Cribbins.
I hope the English is...
It's called Right Said Fred. Not just about the English. English was okay in the song. I just hope it's not so boring, whether vocally, lyrically or musically. The song we just heard was like light torture for me. I won't call it actual torture, but light torture for me. Sitting and listening to it, it was just so ridiculously boring and meaningless nonsense that it's just light torture. So I hope Right Said Fred is going to be better. There was a group called Right Said Fred which made a lot of entertaining songs. Entertaining music. I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, too sexy it hurts. So that was one of the big hits in the early 90s. The Right Said Fred, and then a couple of other songs they came out with. Then I don't know, one of them died or what, but they just disappeared off the face of the earth. Never ever heard about Right Said Fred before, or Wrong Said Fred. So now we're going to hear a song called Right Said Fred. Maybe it's the inspiration for Right Said Fred, giving the name for the act as Right Said Fred, which came along much later. And this seems to be from 50s or 60s maybe. Let's listen to that one, Bernard Cribbins' Right Said Fred. After a short break, we need that break, mind you. 8 seconds or less for you, but trust me, it's much longer for me. Especially with a song like this.
Namaste YouTube, welcome back to our reaction to Bernard Cribbins, and we are going to react to Right Said Fred. The last time he was arguing with someone and this time he agrees with someone. Let's see how this is going to go.
Unless his other name is Fred.
Okay.
Right, said Fred, both of us together, one each end and steady as we go. Tried to shift it, couldn't even lift it. We was getting nowhere, and so we had a cup of tea. And right, said Fred, give a shout for Charlie. Up comes Charlie from the floor below. After straining, even and complaining, we was getting nowhere, and so we had a cup of tea. And Charlie had to think, and he thought we ought to take off all the handles and the things what held the candles. But it did no good, well, I never thought it would. All right, said Fred, have to take the feet off to get them feet off, wouldn't take a mo. Took its feet off, even took the seat off. Should have got us somewhere, but no. So Fred said, let's have another cup of tea, and we said, righto. All right, said Fred, have to take the door off, need more space to shift the so-and-so. Had bad twinges, taking off the hinges, and it got us nowhere, and so we had a cup of tea. And right, said Fred, have to take the wall down, that there wall is gonna have to go. Took the wall down, even with it all down, we was getting nowhere, and so we had a cup of tea. And Charlie had to think, and he said, look Fred, I got a sort of feeling, if we remove the ceiling with a rope or two, we could drop the bladder through. All right, said Fred, climbing up a ladder with his crowbar, gave a mighty blow. Was he in trouble? Half a ton of rubble landed on the top of his dome. So Charlie and me had another cup of tea, and then we went home. I said to Charlie, we'll just have to leave it standing on the landing, that's all. You see, the trouble with Fred is he's too hasty. Now, you never get nowhere if you're too hasty.
Let's have some more tea.
And the songwriters are not the singer of the song. No. Is two people known as Ted Dix and Miles Rouge.
Right.
It's no wonder it's just doesn't connect with me.
I think these are written
I looked across at Kirti and she seemed to be enjoying it a lot. Let's see what she liked about it so much. I'm the most interested in going through this reaction once it's online as well. I want to know what she found so amusing about it all and interesting.
You know what I think? Fred and Charlie, I don't remember the names of the Three Stooges, but is it the name from the Three Stooges? I don't know. But these people seem to be, Fred and Charlie seem to be, and this character seem to be those kind of characters, little dimwit, and doing things about around and about the house, working around and doing more damage than they actually are working. So that's what felt like from the song with the music like that. They were damaging more things than getting anywhere close to what they wanted to do. And I really don't remember the names of the Three Stooges. I think it may have been sung for them. No?
I don't think this would have been in the Three Stooges.
No? Okay. But it sounds something
Not
like
good
that.
enough.
Not good enough? Okay. It sounds something like that. The last one also was about digging a hole, whether round or square, and this time pushing something in that isn't going through the simple door, the normal door, and they are making all adjustments, breaking the ceiling, breaking the wall, and opening the door and things like that. Still they couldn't get in. And they are taking their good breaks for the tea as well. So tea break is very important here. It's just
What
fun.
else?
It's just for fun. That's what I would say. They are having fun, doing no work at all, and damaging things all around the place. I don't know if it is based on Three Stooges or not, or for them or not, but may have been, the video or music made for those kind of listeners who like things like that, funny things happening, things breaking. You can't really see things, and I don't know if when this came out, music videos may not be there at all. They came much later. So I don't know if these were played in movies or something like that.
You once said there's videos on America's Funniest Home Videos and shows like that are very harmful to children, but today you're going against it, harmful to children, but today you're going against it, it's like fun. So it's little amazing to me to hear that. Contradictory, and I get that because even I sometimes tend to contradict myself in reactions.
Right.
And that's why I want to see what you have to say about a song like this. because on one end, you have videos which seems fun. If it's
They are
not
fun.
if
They
it's
are
not
actually
happening
fun.
to you, it seems fun.
Yeah.
But when it's happening to you or anyone close to you, it's not fun at all. So yeah,
I mean,
that's my take on it.
The show of America's Funniest Video was not funny. That is right. I still stick to that.
So how is this different from what's happening?
I don't know, cartoons all over the world, Tom and Jerry, they look funny, but the way they damage each other, it's not kind of, you don't imagine that for yourself. You don't flatten out yourself and you don't fall off the sky and get exploded with a cannon and things like that. So as long as it is not reality, is okay.
But this seems more real. It's not an it's not an animation show
I
or
don't
something.
think.
It seems more real with real kind of characters and all. So, yeah.
At the end, he said Fred is saying anything. He doesn't want to listen to Fred. Fred damaged a lot. He agrees with you and us that Fred is just doing anything. You see, the trouble with Fred is he's too hasty. That's the trouble. So must not listen to Fred. Must do what we feel is right. And I don't think any of them have any answer to it. They'll keep trying though. That's it.
There's 2 minutes to go, so what do you want to talk about? Considering it's a 10-minute reaction.
For this?
For this. And yeah, we should mention it. For this. A 10-minute reaction.
Right
It's
side
like
Fred.
torture for me. 10 minutes. I love making reactions, but not when it comes to songs like this. It's beneath my intelligence and beneath me to even listen to songs like this, to be honest.
It isn't for the intelligent people for sure. It's for
So you're not intelligent? You're dumb?
It's for just listening, I would say. If you
I
feel
don't
like-
think if it's even for listening, because when you're giving advice which could be potentially followed by people from around the world or from anywhere, I don't think it's safe to listen to music like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Is why do we go against anti-war songs then? I mean war songs then or violent songs then. We should support them also inside out, because it's okay, why it doesn't affect us, so why bother? Let's say it's good, fight, kill. It's just a joke, it's just a story. Why do we have to go against it? Why do we have to say we are not that way? Might as well support all those songs which we may have said that we don't want to hear it or we don't like hearing violent songs.
I see your point here. There's too much destruction
Do
happening.
you?
I see your point here. Too much destruction happened here in one song. Even though with funny music and all the funny sounds.
It's not funny when it's talking about violent things and a lot of damage done. You can learn a lesson or two maybe from it, but even then I doubt, it should be worded in a better way, put in a better way. And even if that doesn't happen, it's not for me. Honestly, such music is never for me. And I'm guessing it's for a lot of people who love violence and who love that sort of thing, whether it was an earlier song or this song. People who love violence, people who like bashing up each other all the time and like that kind of violence, of course, this is definitely catering for them. And I do know there are lots of people like that. So definitely people will say, oh, let her speak and let her give a point of view. I did. I asked her to speak for most of it. She doesn't want to speak anything more. That just shows how shallow the songs were, because you can't even make a proper reaction for 10 minutes. The same person can talk about for half an hour about other songs and then can't not even talk for 7 minutes. So that just shows you how cheap and inferior the quality of the lyrics and song is.
Right said Fred. That's what it is. Right said Fred. It's complicated, I think. It's complicated.
What's complicated?
Oh, everything. Reactions are complicated. When we listen to songs, we talk about songs, and in return we get analyzed on what we talk. It's generally we take the lines of the song and that's what we are talking about.
The reason I'm saying it in such a straightforward, blunt way in this reaction even to you is that because even if we end up supporting the song, if I say I loved it, there will be so many commenters who come in the next, not just few days, next few weeks and months, They will come and say, oh, you
hated that song.
that song which had so
And you
much
like this
violence, and now you love this, you're crazy about it, you like this a lot. How come? So from now on, I'll say it as it is, especially when it comes to songs which anyhow are useless. You know, if it was Elton John and Ticking, where he's talking about a violent topic, but he's talking about how it is, the reality of how damaging it can be, with phenomenal music in there, sounding like Yanni and Kitaro, and the piano and the orchestral feel with the violins and other instruments, and then his wonderful vocals and breathtaking lyrics. Yes, in that case, even though it's violent, it's violence for a good cause. It's showing how dangerous it can be. It's a ticking time bomb.
Reflection
So
of
time bomb ticking in that human being. And if you reach the time limit of that person's time bomb ticking, you're all going to die. And that was based on a real story. But in this case, I mean, the voice is so boring, the music was so boring, and the lyrics were completely pathetic and horrendous. It was just so difficult to even for Kirti to read. I purposely made Kirti read that.
It is
The first, because it's so difficult to even read it. For a person who knows English and has 2 master's degrees or a graduate degree and a master's degree in English, studying English and learning English
That's
and
7
studying
years
in
in
management,
Yeah.
all in English, all in the English medium, and she found it so difficult to read that last song's lyrics. That itself is proof of what I'm talking about. She has read lyrics before, but not as pathetically as she did with that song. And what's the reaction again to know what I'm talking about? Either ways, it's not about her and me. It's the fact is the song was CRAP. Both of them.